Well, good morning, everyone. Very good to see you. It's good to be with you, you wonderful little heavenly honeypots. Thank you so much. This is Center for Spiritual Awakening. My name is David, and God willing, and the creek don't rise, I shall be your MC through the duration of the service. It's an interesting teaching, this, isn't it? I mean, I think, and we're all probably a little bit, weird, really. We're all a little bit far out, We've all probably hung out in Atlantis and Lemuria, and we've all got our own experiences. And you say, what is different? What's different about CSA? What's different from all the traditional churches? Well, we're a non-dual teaching. We say, look, there's only one presence. And if there's only one presence, then that must be being us. And if it's being us, it's being everybody else. So there's tremendous respect. There's tremendous love. There's tremendous joy in that. And that goes out, then what? So then we take care of our planet, and we take care of each other. Because that presence, being us right now, is the intelligence that created everything, and that's being you, and that's being me. And that's what Jesus was talking about. That's what all the greats are talking about. Somebody else said to me the other day, said, David, there's nothing to do really. Let's go and hang out with Jesus and walk on water. But would we be willing to do that? You know why we don't want to do that? Because we don't want to give up the control and take responsibility for our emotions and what we haven't done and what we should do. I'm just here to tell you that you're absolutely perfect, and I think you're magnificent. And there's nothing to do but sit back and enjoy each other's company. So thank you so much for being here this morning. The only thing I have to tell you is I couldn't find anywhere to put my notes this morning, so I put them in this wedding folder for Paloma and Gatto. So if you end up getting married this morning, all right, shall we move along? Because there's a lot to do today. Let's stand and sing in this very room. Awesome, thank you. Hi, everybody online. How are you? Let's all turn and wave to the camera. So, hello. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us this morning. Now, ladies and gentlemen, two amazing beings shall step before you and tell you what they're going to do today? Yes, because Amelia and Lisa are here. Coming up, tell us about Junior Church today. Woohoo! Yay!
Good morning. Downstairs, we are talking about optimism. And I thought to help illustrate this, I would bring in something that I've mentioned a couple times up here, which is the work of Dr. Masuro Emoto. And he teaches us what our intentions, the effects that it has on water molecules. So I really suggest Googling him and seeing what a water molecule looks like when you say loving things to it. And you say, I love you, you're wonderful. And what a water molecule looks like when you say, I hate you, or play classical music and play heavy metal, and look at the difference. It's really, really interesting. So this morning, I was up making rice for the kids, and they are going to decorate a bag with love, loving pictures, loving words, and then they're going to decorate a bag with hate and, dark colors and hateful words. And then for the next, they have homework. For the next few weeks, they're going to talk to those bags, and they're going to see for themselves that the bag of rice that they speak love to doesn't grow mold at the same rate as the bag that they speak hate to. And we're going to use that to display what optimism is. And are we being optimistic in our minds? Are we being optimistic to ourselves? Are we telling ourselves loving, encouraging things? Or are we kind of beating ourselves up? And what's that doing to us? So I've talked about it. I suggest all the adults do it because it really is powerful. And like I said last time, the hate bag will start to grow red mold. I didn't even know red mold was a thing until I did this experiment. So I highly recommend it. We're also going to read Imagine, A Better World, and kind of see what happens when we can use that optimism in our imaginations. I know there are some kids waiting downstairs for us, and I also have a birthday downstairs, although he doesn't want us to acknowledge it because he's 13 and, way too cool for that stuff. So I will go find the children down there.
I feel so fine, God in me as me is me, and I'm just divine. Hey ho, I feel so free, 'cause God's having fun just being me. Hey ho, I feel so fine, God in me as me is me, and I'm just divine. Hey ho, I feel so free, 'cause God's having fun just being me. Cool. Yahoo! Oh, this is a good time of the service. This is very exciting. Is there anybody here for the first time? Because we want to jump up and down and be excited and welcome your extraordinary, magical, beautiful presence here today. All right. Well, if anybody feels like coming up, raise your hand later on. Be grateful. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, here we have a customer. Thank you. We're going to give you a gift bag. And it's got goodies in it. And we're going to give you a free gift at the Mind Shop. So thank you for that. All right. If you could quickly check the cell phones, we'd appreciate that. And Reverend Katie's going to come up and do a health treatment for us.
Good morning. So health treatments obviously are for the purposes of better health. There's physical health, there's mental health, there's emotional health, there's spiritual health, there's psychological health. I mean, our life hopefully is filled with positive or good health. And so we start this practice off before I actually give a health treatment by asking you if you know of someone, a loved one, or you know of someone who needs some extra special help or to be included in this health treatment, please raise your hands and I'll point to you and you can just say their first name. Yes.
Nancy, Cole, and Tommy.
Thank you. Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Rob and Stephen.
Okay. Yes, Cynthia. Okay, Joe.
Kay and Lori.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
Gary, Inga, and Fidel.
Thank you. Yes.
Blake, Ginger, and Karen.
Thank you. And I'll add Cynthia's name. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to close my eyes so it eliminates most distractions, because I can get distracted. And I like to go inward. That is where I usually feel what can be called either the spirit, the divine, the energy, whatever, chi, whatever you want to call it. And so it's kind of an unusual situation. On one hand, we recognize that there can actually be a purpose to what seem to be obstacles in this life or difficulties, because a lot of times that teaches us the lessons that we need. In the process, we become wiser and more compassionate, more loving. And on the other hand, here we are praying for this process to either be eliminated or to be diminished, such that we can learn whatever lessons that we're here to learn in a much calmer, easier, more positive manner than pain and suffering. We don't have to go through that process in order to learn the things and to be in touch with the divine. Unfortunately, pain for a lot of people has a humbling effect, where they're more receptive, more open to the divine energy, to the spirit, to love. And so at this time, we recognize the divinity within all, within everyone. And at this time, we treat for consciousness for all and awareness for all, to be aware of the divinity within, the love within, because that is what is healing. That is our ultimate goal. Some people call it enlightenment, and it's a process, it's a path, it's a road, and we don't have to take the painful road to get there. And so we include those that have been mentioned. We include everyone here in person and online. And we include everyone because we are all one. And so what we pray for, seemingly individually, actually applies to everyone because we're all connected with this divine energy. And for whatever condition we find ourselves or our loved ones in, we treat for a resolution, for a healing, and for a progression, a spiritual progression, an evolution that is done without the pain and suffering. And so we release this treatment, knowing that everything is good from a divine perspective. Everything is for a purpose, a divine purpose. And so it is. Okay. And I'll just mention a couple of things. One is that there will be complimentary prayer treatments given by a practitioner after service. Oh, it's supposed to be me, but it's going to be somebody else that says up there. Okay. Shreya, thank you. Okay. And thank you, Shreya, for doing that. Okay. And also, so if you want to do that, they're wonderful. Prayer treatments are wonderful, and doing the treatment is wonderful, and experiencing the treatment is wonderful. It's just the divine energy comes in and fills the hearts. So if you want to do that directly after service, you can go through this door and wait in the meditation room and wait for Shreya to come get you. Also, if you want a prayer treatment done for you during the week, you can fill out a prayer treatment request form in the back there and put it on that table and put it in the wooden box there, and a practitioner will be doing that for you during the week. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Katie. When we do this practice and we find ourselves in our hearts, we begin to realize that everything loves us, because love is all there is. And we realize that even our own breath loves us. So let's breathe for a minute. I know Dr. Bill is here, and I think I see that Mark's here too. And he's going to come and talk about Sally Kempton, who was a wonderful teacher, and she passed away recently. This is a chant that she taught me, and it's the one that I use when I'm walking around. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Murtaye Nisprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Salutations to the eternal teacher who exists within us as pure being, pure awareness, pure joy, who is peaceful, luminous, without form, who is never not supporting us. God bless Sally Kempton. Om Namah Shivaya. And now we've got some wonderful live music for you today. John and Evan Weed are coming up. They live in Carmel Valley. John is the dad. He's on the fiddle, and Evan is going to play the harp for us. They're going to do some Irish music for us today. So, gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you. We're going to do short medley of two instrumental tunes composed by a friend of mine who lives in Seattle, a man by the name of Dale Russ. And they are both called February Reel #1 and February Reel #2. I'm assuming he wrote them in February. And it was probably for lack of a better title. Okay. Ready, Evan?
Yeah.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Fair play to you boys now. Fair play. Lovely. Haha. Well, oh, this is so great. Our speaker today is none other than the totally unique and wonderful Reverend Karen Shihadeh. Woo! All right. So, yes. Has she got a degree in biology, you may ask? Yes, she has. Does she have a degree in anthropology? Yes. Sustainable agriculture? Yes. Spanish? Yes. She spent 20 years as a terrestrial field biologist. And then she became a mum, and then she was teaching, and she came here. She has been teaching about spirituality and nature. She became an ordained minister of religious science. She's completing a doctorate from Emerson Institute. She's so many extraordinary things. At her heart, she's a connector, a community builder, and her greatest love is storytelling and the power of metaphor. But there's so many extraordinary qualities that she has. I could go on about her forever, but here's a couple of things. So Shreya and I were teaching a couple of years ago, and COVID had just come in, and we were trying to teach online and in class at the same time, and we'd never done it before, and we hadn't worked the equipment before, and it was a thing. And Karen was running the tech for us. So she was in the mind shop, and she was just this wonderful, calming presence, and she did it, and we got the class going, and then when the class was over, she came in and she closed up, and it was wonderful. What I didn't realize in the middle of the class was that her husband, Rami, had had a really bad accident on his bike. He had gone home. There was blood everywhere, all over the kitchen. She had left. She went home. She took care of Rami. She cleaned up, and she came back, and we didn't have any idea that there was anything wrong with it at all. So she's just like that. There's always these disasters that she deals with just in absolute calm and serenity, and then she bursts out into that wonderful smile of hers. In the mind shop, I've got friendly with a local lady called Karen, Nina. And Nina is an actress, and she brings in her dog, Rosie, 2 or 3 times a week. And Rosie, like myself, is kind of a little old and cranky and arthritis, and he comes in, when he books, and I stroke his ears, and he goes out, oh. When Karen Shihadeh comes in, I swear to God, he looks at me, and he smiles. And his tail starts wagging. And that's what Karen Shihadeh does. She makes your tail wag, and here she is.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, David. I'm just so grateful to be able to share the podium with David and all of the people here, and John and Evan, that I got to experience being on the stage next to where Evan was playing. You're amazing. Thanks for coming out today. And when I write these talks, I kind of have somebody in mind, somebody kind of pops up in mind that I'm thinking of for these talks, and they don't really know I'm having a conversation with them, but I guess I need to attribute this to my muse today, Jane Varon, the person who can make me cry when talking about coconuts. So this one's for you. Continue our conversation. About 300 years ago, there was a masterful invention that on the surface was extremely helpful. It also issued in a new, unknown, and first-time psychiatric disorder. I think it was so novel that our bodies, not knowing what else to do with it, kind of equated it with fight or flight for survival. It actually came to define the way humans, at least those of us from the European civilizations, view the world and our place in it. Can you guys guess what happened? It was the pocket watch. Yeah. You know, I was talking about time, yeah? It was the watch. Physician George Miller Beard first defined this new psychiatric disorder. He called it neurasthenia, nervous exhaustion. In his pivotal book, American Nervousness, published in 1881, Beard defined neurasthenia as a medical condition with symptoms of fatigue, anxiety, headache, impotence, neuralgia, and depression, leading to exhaustion of the central nervous system's energy reserves. The main culprit of nervous exhaustion were the new conveniences, making life go faster, like the railroad, the telegraph, the spinning jenny, the steam iron, and most especially, the pocket watch. According to Beard, watches excite the habit of looking to see the exact moment so as to not be late for trains or appointments. Now, of course, we don't carry pocket watches. We check the time on our phones. We also check text, emails, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, ChatGPT, Thread, the news, the Tide Report, the weather, and so on. The average American will check their phone once every 10 to 12 minutes. That's at least 96 times a day. Harvard University reports that in the US, we spend an average of 2 to 4 hours per day tapping, typing, and swiping on our devices, up to over 2,600 daily touches. Many psychologists today identify this as obsessive, even addictive. So what's driving these frequent obsessive checks? Intermittent reinforcement. The intermittent reward of social approval functions just like cocaine on the brain, causing a dopamine spike and euphoria. It's also kind of like a slot machine. Creators understand this. Social media apps utilize brain science in their algorithms for delivering social approval, your likes. And they do it in a staged and sporadically available way so that you're driven to continue clicking and checking and clicking and checking. Studies show links between smartphone usage and increased levels of anxiety, depression, and nervous exhaustion. So it's no wonder today that we are feeling more stressed about time than ever. With the increase in technology, we actually feel like we lose time. And this reminds me of the many traps in which Odysseus found himself in the Greek epic by Homer called the Odyssey. And they come to the island of the land of the lotus eaters. When they get there, they eat of the fruit and have no desire to leave. And if you're a Percy Jackson's fan, and I know there's one in the room, you'll recognize this as the Lotus Casino. They go in to what feels like an hour, and they come out days later, forgetting the purpose of their quest. They're forgetting themselves. Some people never get out. The other day, I was rifling through my purse, like frantically looking for my phone, when I was actually on my phone, leaving a message for Sandy, actually. Oh, Sandy, this is what happens. The concept of time that we generally understand today comes from the Greeks and their primordial creator god, Kronos, who later became known as Father Time. Kronos is quantifiable, so you can count it. For anything that can be quantified, one begins to believe that you can waste it or lose it, alternatively, that you can save it or hoard it. This kind of belief in time, Kronos time, is something to track and control. And it can feel like there's never enough. We come up with sayings like, that's a waste of time. Time waits for no one. Time is of the essence. Time is money. We accept a linear concept of time. In linear time, time is like a number line in which one begins at 0 time, birth, and moves to end time, death. To go back in time is not possible except through memory. It's kind of solitary when you look at this, depressing, and lonely. In his book, Sand Talk, Tyson Yunkaporta of the Appalach Clan in far north Queensland, Australia, writes, "The Sumerians started it, the Romans perfected it, the Anglosphere inherited it. The world is now mired in it." Physicist Carlo Rovelli writes, "We usually conceive of time as something simple, fundamental, flowing evenly, indifferent to everything from the past to the future, measured by clocks. Over time, the events of the universe follow one another in order: past, present, future. The past is fixed, the future is open. Well, all this, from current physics, has turned out to be false." What I love to play with most is my perception of reality. So the preceptive game is this is the game I sort of play in my head. What if I don't believe what I've been told? And so this is not only what I've been taught, but what my senses are telling me. It can have the effect on my mind like waking up, like seeing something new for the first time, like a Zen koan. What if everything we think we know about time is simply wrong? If we look outside of Western, so I'm going to use this word Western, but switch it because there's no West on a round planet, for one. And second, there were already natives living here in what we call the West, right? So I'm going to say Eurocentric. So if we look outside of Eurocentric thought, we find a very different concept of time. And because of this, the very nature of reality. Another way of thinking about time was understood very early on in the human experience, and it still exists today among Native Americans, Polynesians, Aborigines, and Africans. And what is really fascinating is that they all basically agree. So let us suspend for a moment what we think of as the truth and entertain the idea that our Eurocentric version of reality about time being a line is only a human construct, created by humans, accepted by many, but simply one explanation of reality, one that can lead us to feel unhappy, unfulfilled, lacking, and isolated. According to modern physics, what we just heard, this version of reality simply no longer works. I love Atsatna Lehe. This is Changing Woman. She is and continues to be one of my greatest teachers. Among many other things, Changing Woman teaches us about the nature of time. She is found not just in the Navajo, she is found in the Navajo, but also all across Native America under different names. She is all ages, all at once: maiden, mother, crone. She can appear in any form, and she's always recognizable. And on a personal level, I also see this in me, that I am all the ages I have ever been right now. Changing Woman is also all the seasons of nature all at once. She is shown here with her hoops of power representing the cycles of life. Barbara Alice Mann of the Ohio Bear Clan Seneca writes, "As I see it, the root of the difficulty is that whereas Westerners are linear thinkers, Turtle Islanders are cluster thinkers who grasp reality in terms of natural self-selecting bunches, handfuls of this and that in halves aligned with the ultimate clusters of the cosmic twinship. Each half of the cosmos, being it blood or breath, endlessly replicates its essence by spinning out fractals, large and small, with those of each cluster in necessary coordination with their twin fractals in the other half, in the infinite process of balancing. This only looks confusing to those weaned on linearity, as that singularized point races inexorably to the lonely only conclusion. Hence the Western enthusiasm for a grand unified theory. For Indians, to whom linearity looks inadequate to describe reality, endlessly repeating pairs of fractals sparkling out through the cosmos looks about right. So instead of life being linear, it is circular, repetitive, like seasons, cycles, daily rhythms. Each cycle is overlapping and intersecting, like all that we witness in nature around us. From ancient Egypt comes this foundational story about the cyclical nature of reality. And in this, it is very similar to the stories we find in Native America. Ra, the radiant god of the sun, crosses the sky every day. He rides on a boat named Manjet, the boat of millions of years. In the morning, he is newborn. By noon, he is at his strongest. And at the end of the day, he is weak and old. He must then descend into the underworld to do battle with the great monsters of the 9 caverns. But he is so weak, he cannot possibly fight alone. His counselors are the crane-billed and wise Thoth, who drives his boat, Ma'at, the goddess of cosmic balance, and Anubis, the guide of all souls. They help him to fight his battles. They are his companions, and to steer his boat, so that the great Lord of the sky can be reborn and rise the sun. In the 9th cavern, Thoth must wipe the monster who is this Apep, wipe the poison from Ra's eyes so that Ra can drive his spear into the giant snake. Apep is the embodiment of darkness and disorder. It's called the Lord of Chaos. And it's the most of the fearsome of the monsters of the Duat, the underworld, the Egyptian underworld, which is not quite like ours. With the slaying of Apep, dawn breaks, making the whole sky red with the blood of Apep. And Ra so relishes in this play, he never tires of it. Rather, the play of birth and death and the victory over dark forces and rebirth is so fun, he wants to do it for all eternity. Circular, continuous, without end, the boat of millions of years. And as you may notice in this story, the daily time, the lifetime, the life's journey, and eternal time all intersect. So in Africa too, among the ancient Egyptians, like in North America, we see that time is circular. And today in Africa, from all parts of the continent, we find definitions of time that challenge Western thought. The first difference, of course, that we've discussed is that it has periodicity. It's cyclical. The second is that time is anchored to place in space. Time does not exist outside of space in which it forms. So time is linked to the manifest always, space-time. That is why we mentally mark events with where we were when they happened, because there is no time without a place to mark it. Another difference in the dimension of time, in addition to being circular and having space, is that it is non-singular. Now is more robust, more inclusive than just a single point on a number line. It is infinitely overlaid by the personal and communal mental landscape. All right, here's an example. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a stream and you're looking downstream. The river's moving away from you. Everything you can see from what is just here in front of you to where the river bends ahead, sometimes very far ahead, is actual time, the now. So what we call the distant past is represented by that area really far downstream. In Swahili, this is called zamani. Zamani, or memories, however distant, even into eternity, are still present in the present moment. So as much as are the events that are happening in the moment, the area of the stream right next to your body, sasa in zamani. And sasa and zamani overlap. What can be seen here in the peripheral vision is the inevitable future, that which is on the verge of occurring. So as you step, you know that your foot will fall and hit the ground. This area is considered potential time. Besides actual time, which includes all of the past, and potential time, there is no time. There is no such thing as future. Because the future has not yet occurred, it does not exist, and is not considered time. So now I've given you 4 properties of time. Time is cyclical. It is fixed in place, space-time. It's non-singular. Actual time considered now contains both the present and the past. It has potentiality. The immediate future only exists as pure potential. The concept of actual time means that as we age, instead of having less time, we have more, because we have more memories. Our river is longer. Like the Big Bang, time expands. And psychology bears this out. I am this self as well as all my past selves and experiences. All the forms and cycles of changing woman, they are still at work in me, including this very moment. So ancestors are also present and alive. And birth and death, rather than being endpoints on a number line, exist as events that expand time, new fractals. Thus, time evolves backwards as memories are built in an individual and in a community. Storyteller Maleka Muter writes about today's Africans, musicians, master drummers, artists, griots, using the African concept of actual time to recover and remember and restore their ancestral knowledge and heal the severance caused by the brutal diaspora of slavery and colonization. African scholar S. Moreau writes, "Only what is currently passing or has already passed is of significance, for it has become part of a concrete reality and therefore important. History moves backwards from the now moment to that period beyond which nothing can go. That period being the horizon in the distance. The cycles of nature, seasons, years, hours of the day, may be thought of as debris floating along on a recurring basis, not always the same, but always comfortingly familiar. Rather than the man moving into the future by going upstream, he lets the future come to him by remaining stationary. Since he knows it will reach him eventually, there's no need to focus on it, and he cannot speed its advance. We are stationary while time meets us where we are at." And this helps us decode the mystery of the Polynesian voyagers, whose maps were completely indecipherable to Europeans, because instead of a mapping from the bird's eye, of which we're all familiar, they used the point of view of the observer. Itak, it's called. The navigator is stationary, and the land rises out of the ocean according to its own time to meet the individual as it's standing still, as that person is standing still on the boat. And 2, we may begin to understand the Aboriginal cyclical and circular order known as everyone. In Aboriginal time also, all things that have happened are still happening now. Native Australians say this is 60,000 years of human experience, still accessible. Okay, so for reference, Homo sapiens evolved 200 to 300,000 years ago. They moved out of Africa, it is thought, 70 to 100,000 years ago, and the first migrations were thought to go across Southeast Asia into Papua New Guinea and down into Australia, which was still attached at that time. So that was 70 to 100,000 years ago. And we are thought to have started using language 50,000 years ago. So there's 10,000 years. This is 10,000 years after Aboriginal time memory began. So as you can see, this is a far older version of the concept of time than is our Eurocentric one. So, and now the fifth property of time I want to talk about is relativity. In Africa, time is regarded as a concept that occurs only in the mind of the observer. Time is highly individual and very personal. This means that unlike the Eurocentric view, time is not universal. That is, standard. Remember, Carlo Rovelli wrote that it's simple, fundamental, flowing evenly, indifferent, measurable. So this is not what it is, according to the indigenous view, because if there is no observer, there is no time. Psychological space-time wraps itself around us. Einstein said that we only exist on local time. He said the rate at which we experience time depends on our frame of reference. Just as movies create the illusion of movement with individual frames, our brains take snapshots from the senses and create our reality, the movies of the manifest. And you must know that each of our brains notices and processes different snapshots, depending on lots of factors, but always linked to the space in which we're occupying. And you can be sure the movies of what we call reality don't agree between us. Okay, remember what I talked about potential time right here in your peripheral vision? I said the immediate future exists only as a potentiality. It's only a probability until it's experienced by the observer. Then it becomes actual time. This quality of potentiality is like a particle at the quantum level. In the quantum field, time doesn't exist. All realities are available as pure potential. In the quantum field, there is no movement. Particles blink in and out at a slightly different place in accordance with the uncertainty principle. A triggering event elicits a change of state from unmanifest to manifest. That triggering event is an observation. Quantum physicist John Newman said that the observer selects a property, and that is what the quantum displays. Ernest Holmes writes, whatever the mind holds to and firmly believes in forms a new pattern of thought within its creative mold. As whatever thought is held in the mind tends to take the outward form in new creations. The law of mind. Periodicity, space-time, non-singularity, relativity, and potentiality. The implications of the properties and dimensions of indigenous time are enormous. And they're compellingly in sync with modern-day teachings in physics, psychology, and spirituality. Adiho Lukanga writes, Africans' understanding of consciousness, which is linked to their worldview, particularly the idea of space and time. This is important because Africans claim that there is an entity called consciousness that is not influenced by space and time and exists in living and non-living beings and in a spaceless, timeless dimension. And the next quote, sorry I didn't give you, there, thank you. From the Pratyabhijna Haridam, consciousness in her freedom brings about the attainment of the universe. And Sutra 5, consciousness herself, having descended from the expanded state, when contracted by the objects of perception, becomes the mind. Okay, so was it just me, or did you also just get that we create our reality? Got it? When I was writing this talk, there was this fly, and there was actually flies around me for many days, the big ones that make all that loud buzzing noise, like, look at me, look at me. So I thought, okay, I'm going to include the fly in my talk. So I was thinking about flies. Humans move in slow motion compared to a fly. We see about 60 frames per second, and flies see 250. So four times more frames per second than humans. I said at the beginning of this talk that we feel like there is never enough time. I'd love to slow down time and feel like a fly. So let's try that, and we'll watch this clip for starters. Give us a little help here. Love this one.
Oh, man, this just feels right. The news team is back. Ron, Brian, Brick, me, even Baxter. That old man is so little and hairy. Hey, Ron, who's driving? Oh, it's okay. It's on cruise control. Who wants some chimichangas, huh? Best thing I ever did was install this deep fryer in the Bago.
Ron, why do you have this bag of bowling balls in this terrarium filled with scorpions?
It's a long, crazy story. Hey, Ron, cruise control just regulates speed. It doesn't steer. Come again?
Muskrat, candlelight, doing the town and it's pretty pleasing. Muskrat soothing, muskrat singing, that you Sammy's so skinny. Singing and jingling.
Well, that is going to make one hell of a story.
Okay. So I know you haven't experienced this exactly, but have you ever experienced in times of trauma, perhaps, where time feels like it slows down? Your perception is heightened. Your memories are fixed and lucid. It's the exact opposite of the state of forgetfulness when eating the lotus of technology. We can control the rate at which we perceive time, the frames per second, outside of traumatic events. There are countless methods for this. Many of these ancient practices we now call mindfulness, and a lot come from the East, like Qigong and Tai Chi. There's Chodu, that 4-hour tea ceremony, Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing, or Ofura, the traditional Japanese bath. We see it portrayed a lot in martial arts movies. But it's found in all cultures, the Danish Hygge, the Turkish Keyef, Islamic Wudu. You can take your pick. And truly, anything that you give your full attention to that achieves the quality of ceremony, ritual, or prayer can slow down time. And this is why these practices are so critical to the human psyche. They remedy the disorders of nervous exhaustion, depression, obsession, addiction, and forgetfulness. I love this easy daily exercise from Esther and Jerry Hicks's book, Ask and It Is Given. The process is called segment intending. It's process 11. If you own the book, we also have it in the Mind Shop. For me, this is the powerful effect of slowing down time and engaging the law of mind on potential time. In this process, a person focuses their thoughts on the immediate task at hand. And in transition, when shifting to between tasks, or in those segments, you set forth a positive intention to meet it. Something as easy as saying, oh, this is going to be good. Ernest Holm advises, any thoughts which tend to inspire, to comfort, and to give peace to the mind are good. So in this way, you're not only attracting positive circumstances from the unmanifest, but you're meeting your present moment as it arises without being bogged down or overwhelmed by the many things that need to happen in the future, which, as you recall, doesn't exist. So the hours, the days, the weeks of life ahead are only potential. Ernest Holmes again, the universal mind contains all knowledge. It is the potential ultimate of all things. To it, all things are possible. So we don't have to worry about the future. Now, the powerful thing in this practice, is that you are in total control of that potential time. It is your deliberate creation, created by the positive feelings you have as you meet it. So transitions are so important. And when you pay attention to transitions, it creates a vast amount of intentional pauses in your day. You can do them on the micro level or in a larger scale, but as you mentally move from one segment to the next, it can be from when you're walking to coming to a place of standing still, or picking up your phone and putting it down, transition, or walking out the door, or starting to drive your car. Any of these are segments in your day. It creates spaciousness, like getting hundreds of more frames per second in your day and actually slowing down time. The butterfly counts not months, but moments, and has time enough. Let's close with a treatment. Alchemy is transformation. It's the transformation of base metal into gold, something worthless into something immensely valuable. So the alchemy of time transforms our understanding of reality from something flat and linear, separate, to something infinitely rich in complexity and possibilities. Stunningly beautiful, life ever expanding, intersecting, repeating and reemerging, reaching beyond this incarnation and beyond, undying, never-ending, infinite. In the one hand, we hold the knowing of all that is and all that ever has been, 60,000 years of now. And in the other hand, we hold the potential for all possibilities, mediated through our very being in this play of consciousness. We stand at the crossroads between the unmanifest and the manifest, in the oneness of all that there is, the non-singular I-ness. Krishna says to Arjuna, the whole world is pervaded by me. All living things have their being in me. The Hebrew pronoun is yasher ayah. I am that I am. I will be what I will be. We feel this truth. We step out of forgetfulness. We remember who we are. Yasher ayah. We allow life to meet us as we call it into being on our own time. And so it is. I'd like to welcome Dr. Bill back up to the podium for a very special tribute.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Quite a journey, huh? I thought Einstein would come in there somewhere, but you brought him in. A dear friend has passed away, Sally Kempton. Some of you have met her here in classes. Some of you have read her books, which we do have in the Mind Shop, I think. Or we can get them anyway. I'd like to just read to you a little bit about her bio. She went through a lot of changes. Her life was quite exciting. She was born to socially conscious parents. Her father was a Pulitzer Prize-winning liberal news columnist. Sally went on to a brilliant career as a journalist, excuse me, and later on a feminist activist. She participated in a sit-in against the Ladies' Home Journal, debated Playboy's Hugh Hefner on national television, and at age 26 established in Esquire the feminist confessional manifesto Cutting Loose, wherein she juxtaposed issues of rage and dependency. She went through a lot of publications, and as it mentions there, and she became very well known as a feminist and also in the present. She always was in the present. She said, I was looking for a spiritual awakening, but since I was a left-wing political intellectual, I couldn't go straight to God. The road was winding. The labyrinth walk of Sally's search and self-examination, formally inaugurated by a spiritual awakening undergone while listening to Grateful Dead's Ripple. I don't know what the Ripple is. Eventually led her to study meditation and spiritual philosophy, and eventually to Kundalini experiences so intense that she began to feel the need for a spiritual guide. Confronted in 1974 with the first glimpse of her future guru, Swami Muktananda, and flooded with an implosion of love in his presence, Sally underwent a further, more radial awakening, describing her inner state as accelerating from 0 to 60 in 15 minutes. She became a close student of Muktananda's, traveling with him, editing his books, and eventually, before his death, being chosen by him to be initiated as an ordained Swami, or teaching monk, in the Vedic tradition. He gave her the name Swami Durgananda, meaning the bliss of the Divine Mother. Sally spent the 1980s and 90s teaching in India, the US, and Europe. As her spiritual life deepened, she realized that she also needed to address psychological issues, as the disowned facets of her personality, the bohemian, rebellious, intellectual, or ironic, radical, begin to assert themselves. Recognizing this experience as a yogic cleansing and a call for further integration and evolution, she began experimenting with various psycho-spiritual techniques, exploring and mapping her consciousness and embodying her commitment to take responsibility for the inner drilling. In 2002, having completed a powerful process of integration, she left her spiritual community to teach independently. And as she did this, it doesn't say this in this bio, but she came here. Yeah, CSA. She taught classes here, lived in Carmel, weekend workshops, and so forth. And over a period of time, she became a minister for this particular church. From this transpersonally informed passion and her 30 years of her inner exploration came Sally's book, The Heart of Meditation. Folks, if you can get that book, you should. That is the most beautiful expression of what meditation really is that I've ever seen. The only problem is the book is not easy to get. I think we tried to get it a few years ago, and it requires searching. There's reason for that, but we won't go into that. It offers personal anecdotes, gentle suggestions, a full spectrum embrace of both Eastern and Western wisdom traditions. Very inspiring book. She created lots of innovative workshops and spiritual trainings, teaching an approach to practical enlightenment based on a classic tantric text of Kashmir Shaivism, and writing extensively on all aspects of spiritual life. Sally currently contributed the popular wisdom column for Yoga Journal. She taught at Kripalu, Omega, and other conference sites, and has been featured as a guest at Boulder's Naropa University. She decided, more recently, my work now is to make accessible the essence of the non-dual heart path I studied with my teachers, yet to do this in a post-traditional context. I teach on the tremulous edge where openness meets discipline and where transformation happens from inside. She's written many books. Another one I'll just suggest, she was known as probably the world's authority on Hindu goddesses. And she wrote a book called Awakening Shakti. Beautiful book. And that I think we do carry. Occasionally we get that one. It's available, much more available. It's a book that has in it astounding things. But her writing is so easy, so her heart is in it, so it's easy to understand what she's saying. There's a particular chapter that we use here quite a bit, and that is the goddess Radha. Radha is a lesser-known goddess, R-A-D-H-A, and is always paired with Krishna. You never see them apart. It's always, you go to get a little statue of Radha, no, you're going to get Radha Krishna. They were lovers. And she was the goddess who brings you your inner lover. Now, we could go on for half an hour talking about that, right? And we had, I think, a Saturday workshop here. This was a long time ago. And she introduced us. We had about 50 people sitting in these chairs. And she introduced us to the inner lover. In the book, it has the mantras to do that. They're very simple, very easy to pronounce. And then you go into meditation. Of course, she led the meditation. And I can tell you that she could make a stone meditate. She's amazing. Just being in her presence, you go into meditation. Very amazing. So we were all in meditation. And then at the end, she said, okay, before you come out, ask the goddess Radha to bring you your inner lover. She said it could be someone you know, it could be someone you don't know. We don't know. Goddess Radha knows, and she'll bring you. And we had 50 people here. Everyone internally saw a person come toward them. And then she said, now take out your paper and pencil and have your inner lover write you a letter. It was like taking dictation. We had absolutely no idea what was going on that piece of paper, but it was clear and beautiful. That changed a lot of lives because all of a sudden, there's somebody else in here. And that somebody else is way beyond us. And they also love us. Well, you could call that God, huh? I mean, Yes, that's it. That's the whole point. This is a process known in the East, very well known. It's a different type of yoga. It's heart yoga. And what it amounts to is you have a being, and you can talk to this being. You can, I find the inner lover is very playful. Just have fun all the time. Forget all this stress and stuff like that. Just have fun. Yeah. But very wise. I can ask questions that I know nobody else knows but me. The answer I know, and that's it. But the inner lover knows it and discusses it in detail. It's really quite amazing. It's in the chapter on Krishna and Radha, all of this is there. It tells you exactly how to do it. So that's why I say she was the #1 researcher on the goddesses of Hinduism. And that's what she brought to the table, folks. And yes, she's gone now. Well, not exactly. See, in that Siddha Yoga that she was involved in, when I first met her, she was called Swami Durgananda. So that was a long time ago. But in that teaching, people don't die. Well, we change bodies and stuff like that, but we don't die. This is a growth process, and it doesn't just occur on this planet. It occurs on many planets. They're called lokas. So, she's not really gone. She may not look the same, but she's where she's supposed to be. And that's all taken care of. So I want to thank her. She has done wonderful things, not only for here in the center, but also for the world. Her publications, her conferences have affected people beautifully. We owe her a great deal. So let's do a treatment. And this one is a treatment both for us and, of course, for Sally. Let's understand the truth. It's been said many times today, non-dual, oneness. There is only one. And this one exists as a timeless being. Exists in all of us as an infinite presence. We can't tell anything about where it began or where it ends because it doesn't. It is, that's all. And it is everything and everyone. It's being us right now. And this now, technically speaking, is eternal. If you go inside in meditation, as Sala often advised us to do, you find there is a space there, a presence. Rumi calls it a field of wholeness. It doesn't have any attributes. It just is. It's beyond the mind, beyond the senses. It just is. And that never had a beginning and never has an end. And it's the same for everybody. So no matter what form Sally takes, all the wisdom she shared with us is going to be shared somewhere else. Good. That's wonderful. We thank her for her transmission of understanding and experience. She was a blessing. She still is. And she will always be a blessing. And so it is.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. That's just amazing. The joy of it, you know. Wow. So now it's time for conscious giving. My name is Reverend Shreya. I serve as a staff minister here. And this is a time that we consciously, we intend our gift back to the Center for Spiritual Awakening. Donation envelopes are provided on the back of the seat in front of you if you'd like to use it. And it has a place where you can use credit card information, making it easy. If you're watching online, please go to csa-pg.org after the service, and you can make your joyful contribution to this teaching. Will the ushers come forward now? And please join me in a prayer treatment for the Center of Spiritual Awakening. Thank you. Such a journey, such a gift to be invited to surrender to the flow of consciousness. This is an invitation for your generous gift to support this teaching, your affirmation of the presence of this teaching, just the surrender to the gift, to the joy, to the bliss. So at this moment, my heart opens, as does my gift to consciousness. I know that this is so, this is true, this is blossoming, and bless my contribution. And so it is. So the ushers will go amongst you now. And just to let you know, the practitioners and ministers here provide one-on-one affirmative prayer treatments right through this door. I think, was it you, Karen, that just jumped into the joy of doing treatment? I love it. I could do treatment at, well, actually we do, don't we? But this is truly from the heart. I'll be your practitioner today. They're complimentary and provided directly after the service. And let us join together now in blessing this gift that we've given to presence. I am conscious of my inner presence as my lavish abundance. I am totally confident in letting go and letting God appear as the abundant all-sufficiency in my life and for Ken. And so it is. Thank you.
Thanks, Rev Shreya. Whoa. Oh, yay. Okay, so here's all the cool stuff. Coming up your way, the Sunday Funday thing today with none other than the great Paula Joy McNabb. Oh, kids, you got to spend the afternoon. You've got to spend the afternoon with Paula. She's wonderful. This color thing is, she's been developing it for a long time, and I've been in classes with her, and I think you really, really enjoy her. So if you'd like to get together for a fun afternoon, today is the day, 1 to 3 p.m. today. All right, moving on. Cynthia Hollins is with us today. Woo! Cynthia is a certified grief educator. She's going to be giving a workshop at the Carmel Foundation and titled Understanding Grief. So that's up for you. This session explores the different types of grief, and the flyers for that are in the foyer. And you could go down to the mine shop and you could say hi to Rosa, the angel, because Cynthia gave it to us and she's really cool. We love Rosa. All right. Okay, importante, muy importante. Starting on July the 23rd, you will be able to subscribe to CSA streaming, and this will allow you to watch CSA Sunday services on YouTube starting on July the 30th. Moving on just a little bit. Wow, again, amazing. I'm sure most of you know Miranda, but if you don't, it's really worth coming to see her. She's one of our favorites. Miranda McPherson is coming into CSA in person on July the 30th. Her talk will be Opening to Divine Love, and this will be available on YouTube for subscribers only. And of course, we'd love to have you here in person. And the other thing is, Miranda will be giving a workshop entitled Cultivating Grace. That's going to be $35. The other thing is she's come out with some cards, oracle cards called Cultivating Grace. We've sold a couple of those already, and we're getting some wonderful feedback on that. We'll be getting more of those, and I expect she'll bring some with her. July the 29th and 26th, the property is rented out, and I'm sorry, I don't know this person's correct pronunciation, but Francie Soto will be here at CSA to offer her services of Reiki healing, angelic guidance readings, and spirit connection. And you can make an appointment for a session at her website or by calling the phone number that's up there. And again, there's flyers for that, I think. And this is fun. West Coast Swing is coming to CSA. There will be Sunday Fun Dance Meditation on August the 20th, September 17, and November 19 from 1 to 2 p.m. in the community room. Suggested love offering $10 for that. And last but not least, the wonderful Mike Finch is looking for a vehicle, so if you can help him out a little bit, get him a ride, get him some wheels, that would be cool. I'm sure we can make that happen. All right. You know, the most important thing, guys, is that you're amazing. And the love and the light and the presence that you carry is the love and the light and the presence that heals and changes the world. Do not ever forget that. You are it. We are it. There is only the one presence. That's why Ho'oponopono works. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. To yourself and to everybody. Understand, there's only a oneness. We're all this one thing, and we're all it right now. So thank you for that. And thank you for extraordinary presence being here today. Thank you for everybody that participated in the service today. Circle group with Dr. Tim coming up. Please stop in the foyer with, if you give that card to Sherry, she'll give you that little gift bag, and then you can zip down to the mine shop and we'll give you a freebie. So, guys, you were great. Thank you so much for coming. It was great. Thanks. Do you know Evan composed that piece of music himself? Yeah. Woo! All right. Shreya will be happy to greet you at the back. Going once, going twice. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here. Bless you. Thank you for coming. Let's stand and sing the peace song together.